Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and we shall deal with the feature news for today. That is, I spoke for around 5 minutes and it's all gone. Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. My name is Harsh Singh and in this video we shall discuss the feature news for today. That is on the Export Preparedness Index of various states in the country. All right. So before we get into Export Preparedness Index, look at the name of this video. The video itself speaks of Gujarat and Tamil Nadu being the leading states for export development in the country. And let me show you an image talking about the export potential of these these states. Gujarat being the first, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra, and then comes Uttar Pradesh and Odisha. So, though India is not an export-led country, India provides approximately 2% of the total exports of the whole world, approximately. China provides more than 13% of global exports. Imagine the comparison that we have, right? And this export is largely led through the share of manufacturing products. So, when you see these states leading, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, Karnataka, there is something common in these states. There are something else which are common in these states, apart from being the exporting states of the country. These states also have good manufacturing base. Their manufacturing potential is very good. Not only manufacturing potential, their logistical performance is very good. I remember having covered this in the Logistical Index that these states have got very good road networks and rail networks. Not only that, they have got efficient transport connectivity with each other. The last mile connectivity here is very good. Moving ahead to understanding more about these states, the presence of human resources in these states is very good. People migrate to these states to be able to conduct business activities. Isn't that true? Absolutely true. Right? People migrate from states like Bihar and Uttar Pradesh to Gujarat. Same goes to Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu. Not only industry but agriculture as well, right? Home-based services. This is common in these states. Not only that, if you look at all these states, the first five, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, your mind opens and you would realize these are all coastal states. That means they have port connectivity. Right? India's trade, international trade largely happens through ports. World trade happens through ports, right? So these states are the one which have got the export processing zones, right? If you remember, we also had spoken about port potential. Port potential can only happen at the coastal areas, and what we require, the 4 points of port-led development were, so one was port-led development itself. That means port being the hub and leveraging a plan for development of the whole area with the help of port development, coastal community development here, development of infrastructure. Can you please remind me the fourth one? So these are the 4 things that every port needs to develop or port region needs to develop. Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, Kandla Port Trust. So goes for Chennai Port Trust, Ennore, Visakhapatnam, all of them. All the 13 major ports in the country, and for the minor ports as well, and for the mega ports. This has been the plan, but have we been able to fulfill this? See, these states have outperformed in the country. This is what the NITI Ayog says. But then if you look at the global level, we need to do far better. What is required? Let's understand, after having understood that these states are doing well, let us understand what is actually required. All right. So, showing you some images of what's happening around the whole country, right, for development and progress, and where are the shortcomings. Right now, in India is the practice to use the roads as the highways to connect the industrial places. This is not the standard practice around the whole world. It is railways inside the country, inland areas, and overall it is the seaways, you know that. But in India, it is exactly opposite. We are utilizing roads for connecting the places of importance and eminence in the country, which are industry related. So this is not as efficient. More, please type down the potential, in terms of the cost. The cheapest is the rail, sea transport, followed by rail and then road. And we also see innumerable number of hurdles on road transport, the roads not being good, right? The innumerable checks being put by the authorities, transport authorities. So the potential of Gati Shakti is huge. However, not being capitalized for export potential as much, right? So development of inland waterways is also a part of it. Development of the dedicated rail freight corridors is one important thing. India is developing 6 rail freight corridors. The 2 of them are almost ready. 2 of them, one, the western corridor, and the other one is the eastern corridor, right? But then apart from there are 4 more corridors which are being developed, right? Right, a part of this image. But then they will be not only dedicated, they will also be connecting the terminals, right? See, they're linking the coast areas. So this is a very good development, but then India has only funded this project right now. All the other four are being worked upon. The first 2 will be ready shortly, right? So apart from this, if you look, the containers, the shipping potential of the country is humongous. We are producing goods, but the share of containers, the share of these entities, these huge containers in which we transport, and the ships that we have, this is hardly anything with India. We transport with the help of the other nations, right? We hire their ships, be it Greece or Japan or USA or other countries. Remember, India is not amongst the top 10 shipping countries in the world, right? So we have to increase the container potential of the country. Not only that, if you look at the custom procedures, they have to be simplified. There are many places where we are not able to import or export just because we do not have the electronics required to survey the entity which has been imported, non-tariff barrier, or anything that has to be exported, non-tariff barrier. So this is required, right? Not only that, this is hard infrastructure that we are speaking of. We need soft infrastructure also, digital connectivity, right? Digital clarification of what can be imported, what can be exported. If that is available, awareness is available amongst people, we will have more export potential. The export potential that India has envisaged, Prime Minister has envisaged, has been $400 billion for this year, achieved. Thank you. $500 billion for the next year could be achieved, and $1 trillion for 2027-28. $1 trillion. To be able to do this, we require this hard infrastructure, we require soft connectivity as well. We need better services, custom services, we need more awareness amongst people. In fact, the criteria as simple as that, ease of doing business is required. Ease of doing business. That's why I want you to look at each of the fragments of ease of doing business. So when we spoke of hard infrastructure, physical infrastructure is one, but energy infrastructure is another one. If MSMEs are there, see, MSMEs export potential, you people know it. 40% of the export is MSMEs only. 6 crore of people working at home based or their personal endeavors, or some bigger ones also. I agree, $250 crores is the limit. So, even if they have these mechanical devices or electronic devices, it requires electricity. Yeah. We need labs for certification. Not only labs, we also need labs for research and development. We need marketing potential of these entities being created, and we need diversification of market, diversification of the product base also. See, somebody likes I had only heard of meethi lassi until I came across on highway the namkeen lassi also, right? Only few years back, very lately exposed to all this. So we have to diversify the product, right? Chach, I started only lately, a few years back. So point being that there's so many products in milk products itself, and we can diversify. Why can't we diversify the export base as well, right? Depending on the type of people we are addressing. So certification labs, marketing potential, all of them, digital connectivity, this is required for the country. Container potential, as I mentioned, India doesn't produce as many containers as required. 90% of the containers are from the other countries, and less than 10% is what we create by ourselves, right? And this is called container shortage also. If it was our own containers, possibly that shortage would not have been as much as it is right now. Okay. So right from the time, right from the place where the goods are entering the country, raw material, intermediate goods are entering, until they are, they reach out to the final destination, the whole supply chain. For example, the port of entry, wherever they are entering the country, the raw material for production and creation, right? And the rail transport link or the multimodal transport link that we have. And then the place where it gets created, does that place have clearance? Do we have the plug and play facilities there? That is the requirement, the infrastructure requirement. So that is there in these states: Gujarat, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, Andhra, Karnataka. That's required in other states also. This is the reason that an industrial state like Jharkhand or a resource rich state like Chhattisgarh and Odisha, they are not doing as well as compared to these states which are at the marine or coastal areas. Because the marine and coastal states have got a coastal plan, they have roped in the communities, they have human resource potential, they have infrastructure, and they have better physical connectivity as well towards outreach. This is where I want to again and again show the ease of doing business parameters, the 12 parameters. See, labor market regulation, important, right? How well are we able to regulate the labor market, right? Getting electricity, registering property, getting credit. Now MSME, yaad karo, yesterday only we studied. You want to have the MSME potential being harvested, start giving them credit, right? Ramp scheme, very important here. So when we start giving this credit to MSME, you can receive a boost on 40% of export items from the country. Imagine that. That's quite good. Absolutely. Not only that, enforcing the contracts, paying taxes on time. If that happens, export potential will increase. See, this can also generate more FDIs in the country. No, FDIs can be generated for two things. One, exporting the services and products, and second one is domestic itself. Domestic itself. People might fund Indian projects because they see potential in India, inside India itself, of creation and consumption. On the other hand, people might give money to us because they see that we can develop an export base for them, right? Simple example is UAE. UAE sees that India can give them food processing. India can give them a destination for tourism. They are providing FDIs to us. See, so that is how, although is doing business report that has been by World Bank, it has been abolished, but then these parameters still remain relevant, right? Dealing with construction permits, trading across borders, soft and hard infrastructure. Soft infrastructure is a digital infrastructure, right? Hard infrastructure is the presence of the border areas, right? Presence of multiple areas where cross-border trade can happen. We don't have as many, right? And this is where the NITI Ayogs, the calculation through which they judge Gujarat and Maharashtra being the two best states here. This is where, the criteria was such: policy in the state, 20% weightage; business ecosystem, 40%; export ecosystem and performance of export, 20% each. So this is how they have been able to rate these states over the parameters, and found that Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu, apart from Andhra and Karnataka, have been the best performer states for export processing. Remember that these are those states which have one of the highest state GDP. They have one of the highest best manufacturing abilities. They are present close to the coast. They are coastal states. They have very good manufacturing base for themselves. So this is how, and logistical base. Yes, logistical base was the fourth one. So whether they have research and development infrastructure, whether do they receive export diversification or not, transport connectivity, export promotion policy, all those are very relevant, right? I was reading Jharkhand, because I am from Jharkhand. Jharkhand state has only lately launched its industrial policy. These states have declared their industrial policy way back, which has led to the prime ministers of countries flowing directly to Ahmedabad, directly to Mumbai, and directly to Hyderabad. Yeah. So this is how we rope in the, just like, see, remember, if you remember very clearly, I had shared with you people BRICS economies, and how India is trying to leverage the potential of BRICS economies along with the BIMSTEC economies. It said It told the BIMSTEC leaders, please go and meet the BRICS country members also when they come to India, the BRICS premiers, so that they can diversify the trade. This is what the central government does with the state governments. It says the state government prepare a plan in advance, and I will ask the premier of Japan and the premier of Indonesia and our neighboring countries to visit your states for export potential development. See, so when the states have the policy in place, when the states work towards infrastructure creation, when they have human resource potential, when they have a labor policy in place, the countries from abroad will want to trade with us, will want to trade with those states before the others. And once they have the FDI, bas gaadi chal padi fir, hai na? So top countries by export, where is India? Oh, nowhere, yeah, nowhere. This is sad sight. But then we must still know where are the other countries standing. China, first country with export, maximum exports, and then America, then Germany, Japan, UK, France, yes, Netherlands, Hong Kong, Korea, Singapore, Italy, Ireland, and then we have our dear country, and then Canada and Switzerland, total in US dollars. All right. So point being that the top exporting nations are China, USA, Germany, Japan, and UK. India is not in the scene, and what is required for these states are the same parameters: physical infrastructure, the digital infrastructure, energy infrastructure, policy. We must have customs, better customs. We must have, all these facilities are mandated for a country to become export hub, right? An industrial basis, right? So harnessing on what India can potentially provide to the whole world. NITI Ayog has released the Export Preparedness Index and export readiness of the states and union territories. All right, so 4 pillars, don't have to remember, and there are 11 sub pillars, but you must know that policy is important. Export ecosystem and actual export, both of them are relevant, and business potential of the state is also important, right? Exports have been contributing 20% to India's GDP, right? So this is important for you to know. Export have increased with these times. Okay, good enough. One of the factors leading to export growth is the new supply chain initiatives that have formulated lately. So India trading more with Australia now onwards, India trading more with UAE now onwards, India trading more with other nations with which India wants early harvest deals, UK, Canada, USA, European countries. This is one reason, right? So away from China, and these partnerships have formed. Another reason is that we've had more imports of raw materials and intermediate goods, and now we are finishing the products. Now we are creating the finished products. So this is a good thing. Research and development, foreign direct investments have increased. Export infrastructure and market concentration, we have started to become an export oriented economy, right? So only lately we have started to see that GI tagged products India is exporting directly from those places. For example, a Bhuj Jalukya from Nagaland and Assam, it is getting exported directly from Guwahati, international flights directly from Guwahati, right? So this is a good initiative. So you must have 3-4 examples like this. Kashmir carpet, if you remember, right? Then cummins from Tamil Nadu, right? And then we have cashew from Kerala. All these GI tag products getting exported directly from the country. We are creating an export hub from here. And right now I'm speaking only of food processed products. It is there for manufactured products as well, right? So, and also diversifying exports. If we are doing this, this is leading to better exports for the country, right? Ranking of states: Gujarat, Maharashtra, Tamil Nadu. Okay, good enough. Now these states, some similarity with other fact. For example, they have one of the highest gross state domestic product, also maximum production in these states with the help of maximum manufacturing, right? With 48 ports, Maharashtra has the highest number of ports. Oh bhai, wow, wow, port bhi hai yahan par to. Manufacturing potential is also good, GDP is also good of the state, labor laws are also better than the others, port are also there, business environment is there, the large markets, secure financial ecosystem, all of them exist in Maharashtra. That is why topping the list. Good enough. All right, so these are the list of states. Okay. Some of the findings: merchandise export and services export. See, merchandise export, whatever we have been exporting as products, they are merchandise. So gems and jewelry, chemicals, fertilizers, whatever we are exporting, petroleum products, right? Engineered goods, electronics, these are the products. Merchandise export of India have shown an upward trend from financial year 15 to 2019. After that, it was a downfall because of COVID times. Right, this decline in export is attributed to decline in the export of petroleum, gems and jewelry, engineering, and textile and electronics only lately. Okay, now we have also recovered more than the pre-pandemic levels. Services export increasing trend. Right, only 1 year there was a gap, the COVID year, and after that the export potential of services has increased. Why? Because everything is becoming digital. More demand from Western countries for India's IT, ITES and services. Okay, so we have recovered and we have gone beyond the pre-pandemic levels of exports. Since the economic reforms in 1990s, the production and distribution of cost-effective quality products and services drove the exports in the country. Good enough. See, if you look at India's export, I have been speaking of India looking forward to the third generation reforms, right? So first generation reforms were the times of 1950s, and then second generation 1990s. The third generation reforms will entail Industrial Revolution 4, will entail usage of automated supply chains, right? Will use high-end digitization, will use data-driven products. It will not be supply led, it will be demand led product creation, right? So this is, see, these are the highlighting points that you can put as a part of export preparedness of the country. The question will not revolve around export in this index, but it could definitely be asked on export potential of the country. Export could be a keyword, and all the themes that we spoke of will revolve around the discussion on export potential. So what did we study? We studied about the data on export potential, only 20%, right? And 2% of world's export. This is what India contributes to. We understood what are the reasons for this, right? Why export potential in India is less. So digital connectivity, internet connectivity, the physical connectivity, right? We understood about the power availability, MSME growth, many parameters, the kind of laws and rules, policies, customs, all that we have needs a revamp. And when we look at the states, we understood about the states which are doing well in export potential are those states which have certain things linked with them, right? 4 or 5 things linked with them, and they are indicators of why these states are only doing well. So here is the key. This is the key of which states can perform better and how everybody else can perform better. So we understood the 4 parameters also of export potential. So this, if you understand these 4-5 indicators, they are the ones indicating the shortcomings and the advantages both. So wahi ek teer se do shikar, right? Okay. Next we understood about the ease of doing business, how doing business can actually help in promoting exports, FDIs, labor policy. Give examples on products that we are trying to export. Then we also looked in the magazine here that India's export potential has increased with merchandise and service exports, both of them. All right. This is what we studied right now. Let me look at the comments. आवाज दो हमको, हम खो गए. Everybody, I apologize for this. I didn't look at the chats. I wish I could tell you all that you should start looking from the first 5 minutes or so. After 5 minutes. Okay. I would be looking at chats now on. Not to worry. Modernization of ports, industrialization, yes. Port modernization, port-led industrialization, coastal community development. Yeah. So development connectivity. Oh, good one, Netra, good one. So the 4 points: port modernization, port-led industrialization, coastal community, and development connectivity. These are the 4 pointers for port-led development. Very important for port infrastructure development in the country and the linked growth parameters. So good enough there. Okay, all right. Now, since the theme is very much fresh in your mind, export preparedness of the various states and the country, just note it down at a place. It is not going to take a lot of time, but then once it is there, it will help you in topics of economy, topics of trade rationalization of various countries and India's growth. What are the shortcomings? So container crisis, right? We don't have container promotion. We don't have the potency of the train transport. The train transport is put at less par in comparison with the passenger transport, right? So this is something that is hurting India's export potential, India's internal trade itself, and export potential does. So start looking at these 6-7 critical discussion points and generate some examples of how we are changing the whole scenario. Some agricultural products, some industrial products, some avenues through which we are looking at export potential. Example, Australia, UAE. Oh, so many examples you have. So the idea is, when you are dedicating time here with me, this is the only time I feel you could, this is one of those important times I feel you could rationalize into developing the best out of yourself through this. How do you do it? Write it down at a place and memorize it. Look at it again and again. We will become what we eat and what we think, what we consume all the time, and this will start reflecting in your conversations, discussions, answers. That's what is required. Now, if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. It's a Friday. Tomorrow I expect you to be revising all these feature news, the 5 feature news that we have covered, and possibly 10 or 15 of updates and some terms. See, when I'm taking these entities in short now, the idea has been to give you the basic input, just the basic input of what's required. If this is required only in a couple of sentences, so be it. You also should reduce down on the facts and data. And but then you must have it with yourself, right? It will not come in the exam automatically. It will come only when you have written it down at a place and you are revising this content. So the idea is to make things smarter for you to consume. And Monday onwards, you will also see certain more changes on how we are addressing the issue of helping you with current affairs. All right. So till then, I will sign off, and all you guys got to do is prepare notes, keep revising, and possibly if you can attempt one CSAT 2 paper, the aptitude test, some GS papers, possibly Monday I'll show you some questions, potential questions. All right. So Babani, Kriti, Ashish, Netra, Amlan, good night, bye bye, Kim, all of you. I've seen what all Amlan wants to become. So yeah, quite a lot of things. One man army, right? So good night, all of you. I will see you all Monday evening. Till then, take care and keep revising, keep memorizing. Don't be in the fear of missing out. There's nothing to worry. Everything is under control. All is well. Good night.